Rev up your engines!
Well, Tesla is now facing an owner's lawsuit that claims Tesla monopolizes vehicle parts and repairs. Realize they don't have any actual dealerships. People who ever had a Tesla and had to get it fixed because of a wreck or something broke often find they were waiting months for parts. The hilarious thing is, old Elon said he was going to share his electric technology with the world, right? That was his BS in the beginning. Then he finds out that, oh, gee, you know, I'm not going to sue you if you use any of my information. You can't get all this information to fix the cars. I'm going to keep it all, right? Well, now they're being sued. U.S. District Judge Trina Thompson in San Francisco said owners could try to prove that Tesla coerced them into paying high prices and suffer long waits to get their vehicles fixed under fear of losing their warranty coverage. If somebody fixed it somewhere else, they'd say, oh, well, you lose your warranty. That's against the law. You can't do that. That violates federal Sherman antitrust law and some California's antitrust laws. And also the Moss-Magnuson Warranty Act. There's all kinds of laws that they're technically breaking. They're supposed to have information available for people to fix it. Everything's supposed to be above boards, right? No, they don't do that. And of course, one of the big problems is there's no place to get them repaired because there's no dealership. You buy direct from Tesla, right? So there's no place in many areas to even get your Tesla work done. Guy here in Rhode Island last month, he had to have his Tesla towed all the way from Portsmouth, Rhode Island, to Albany, New York to get it worked on. The suit alleges that Tesla refused to open enough authorized service centers and designed vehicles that require diagnostic and software updates that only the company itself could provide. They're trying to prove that there's evidence of a parts monopoly, which included restricting original equipment manufacturers from selling to anyone other than Tesla parts that they made for Tesla, even though Tesla didn't make them. They're buying from an OEM and they're restricted. You can't sell your parts to somebody else. You can only sell it to us. So they can mark it up, of course, right? And that Tesla sells parts to consumers only on a limited basis. And they also say Tesla intentionally degraded repairs and parts, jeopardizing the more profitable business of selling and leasing vehicles. As you know, maybe you don't know, old Elon gets all these stock options, makes a bunch of money based on the price of the stock. If it stays high, he makes a lot of money, right? So his whole thing was to make as many cars as he can, to sell as many as he can, but not make any spare parts. So a big part goes on your Tesla, breaks you, you're in a wreck and it's broken. There are no spares anywhere because he's using all of his parts to make brand new cars so he can make money selling and leasing them. That's what his business is, not fixing them. Just selling them. Too bad if they break. Oh, well, they can wait. They can sit around waiting forever, right? So, think about it. You buy something direct, then what do you do when it breaks? You're screwed. There's billions of Chinese companies selling the stuff in the United States. You can buy it direct from them, right? You get it from Amazon, you can get them from Alibaba, but basically they're coming direct from China. You know what happens when they break? If you've ever bought one of these things, you know. They got no support. You can't get spare parts for them. You're pretty much screwed. Well, there's a little bit of difference in buying some $100 piece of Chinese junk and buying a car that's, you know, $60,000 to $100,000. You're going to be a lot madder when you can't get that fixed in time because, oh, we just don't have any spare parts lying around. Well, if you remember a little while back, Tesla was saying, oh, now everybody can use our chargers. GM, Ford, all these companies. Well, guess what? It hasn't happened yet. For example, GM EV owners still can't use Tesla superchargers. They can't plug them in. They don't work for the GM vehicles. Now, what you got to understand about electric cars aren't like plugging in a toaster. You're at home, you got a toaster, you plug it into the wall, right? It works. No, when you got an electric car, when you get that Tesla supercharger and you get that plug and you plug it into your car, they have to do what's called the computer handshake. The computers in the Tesla charging system have to talk to the computers in the car to see if this car can charge, how much can I charge, is the car overheating, does this stuff match up right? It's a very complicated process done by computers. And so many things can go wrong that your car will not charge. Well, as it stands today, you can't charge GMs on them because they don't have this handshake protocol set up yet. Now, they said they were going to do it spring of 2024. Well, you know, Summer's here now. It still doesn't exist. Since old Elon Musk fired a bunch of his supercharger people, then hired some of them back, and they promise all kinds of things that never come to fruition. Oh, all these other companies can use my stuff now. Oh, gee, it doesn't work right. Hey, his own stuff doesn't work right. What makes anybody think it's going to work with other companies too? Now they say they're in the final steps of integration, but it still doesn't work. And we all know how that goes. You get there and it won't work with yours. It won't accept your credit card or whatever, right? And then there's even a subset of electric people. It's the Tesla people. They're mad. You're not a Tesla. You can't charge here. This is a Tesla supercharger, right? I mean, the whole thing is kind of disgusting when it comes down to it. Old Elon saying he was going to share all his electric technology free to the world to save the planet. But once he starts building them and the superstations, he starts restricting stuff, right? Typical, you know? I mean, this is a guy that said he's going to have 100,000 of these electric semi-trucks delivering stuff by 2024. Well, I think there's 18 of them on the road, and those are breaking down all the time. And they have an actual very short range carrying a full load. They just promise stuff that doesn't come to fruition. And of course, to make matters worse, you use a Tesla superstation, you have to have the app. And we all know what happens with phone apps. Half the time they don't work, something goes wrong, and you're stuck in the middle with an electric car trying to charge it up that won't work. Elon promising stuff that never comes. And if you own an electric car, it's a big deal. These are the superchargers that when you're traveling, you can charge your car up faster with, right? The whole thing is patently absurd. What, the government spent billions, and so far they've only made like 5 supercharging stations with those billions of dollars. And some of the government regulations themselves are in the way. You can't put them at the rest stop. That's not allowed, blah, 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 blah. This is why, you know what, guys like Elon Musk and the federal government running our transportation system, they don't know what the heck they're doing. Well, they've never come out with real flying cars like in the Jetsons, but now they claim they have flying electric ferries. Everybody knows if you get a boat and you put it up on a hydrofoil that's flying up in the air, right? It's going to be more efficient. Here's a picture of one that's going around. Now, I don't know if I'd call it a ferry because this particular one only holds 9 passengers, you know. It's always, all this stuff starts up as a toy for the rich. Yeah, okay, they got electric batteries. Oh, well, they don't pollute like regular boats do, blah, blah, blah. How far is this stupid thing going to be able to go, right? Electric motors picking a boat up in the air and zooming it across. Yeah, it's more efficient than a regular boat. I'll give you that. And it's using so much less energy to push itself along. Then yes, it will last longer, but still, it's a heavy vehicle, even with only 9 people in it. So now here's what they're using it for. The Candela P12 is going commercial for use as a ferry in rivers, lakes around its home waters in Stockholm, Sweden. So they're going on rivers and lakes for 9 rich people to go from whatever, Stockholm to their country estate on the ocean or on a lake somewhere, right? Now, this company claims that they're going to build bigger ones that hold 100 passengers or more. Yeah, I'm not holding my breath on that one. How long would the batteries last in the stupid thing before it ran out of power? And instead of being a hydrofoil, it'd be a log floating in the water waiting for somebody to tow it in. And if they are ferries generally have schedules, right? The ferry can't leave for 5 hours because we got to recharge these gigantic batteries in it. And of course, there's also a company in, guess where? San Francisco. It's called Navier, and they want to make a commercial ferry market with their first model, the Navier N30. Maybe they could have thought of a better name, but it wants to ferry employees from San Francisco's outskirts to the downtown area. Talk about a limited use thing, right? Cars all over the place taking people from the outskirts to San Francisco, right? Like, a ferry's going to solve problems. How far is it going to be? It's their own employees. They're always inside jobs, because if they ever opened this crap up to the public, as soon as it failed and had problems, people would say, well, that was really a stupid idea, right? Just like flying cars, if they have flying ferries, it's going to be for the rich and famous or people who work for them so they can get from the outskirts of San Francisco downtown to where they either work or, I don't know, maybe they mow their lawn or something. Willie G says, I have an engine and it's making this sound. It's a Mercury Sable Duratec. What do you think it is? The noise that that's making is pretty typical for a worn engine. Now, it's an '05, so that means it's a 19-year-old vehicle. Now, in order to fix it, you'd have to take the engine apart. You might have to change the lifters. You might have to change the cams. I mean, the valves could be worn too. That's such an expensive job. If you're not burning much oil, the engine runs okay, otherwise runs at the normal temperature gauge. I would just personally live with it. Just make sure you change your engine oil and filter every 4,000 or 5,000 miles with full synthetic oil and a good filter, and see how long it lasts. Because to rebuild a modern engine costs a whole bunch of money. And if it still runs okay, that's pretty typical for a Ford to make that much noise as it ages. I mean, let's face the fact. To do an engine correctly costs many, many thousands of dollars. Is it worth putting in an '05 Mercury Sable? Of course not. And as long as you keep maintaining it, it runs okay. That's something you're just going to live with. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.